another installment of the weekly overview. This week is week 12. You know what that means. We are almost done. We have this week and the next week. This week, you are submitting your final drafts of the research argument essay. So you'll be working primarily on revision and editing and implementing the feedback that you've gotten from your peer reviewer as well as from me, and trying to do your best to complete this introductory research argument essay. I don't expect it to be perfect. I know that sometimes I may seem demanding when I am providing feedback for you, but I am just trying to get you to a place where you will be comfortable doing these types of assignments in English 1001. Remember, English 1001 is the required course, regardless if you're going for a degree, if you're moving on further, or even if you're just doing a certificate program, you need to take English 1001. It is one of the foundational courses in the general education requirements. So prep is designed for those of you who may feel like you are lacking some of your skills, maybe you're lacking a little bit of confidence. Prep composition is designed to get you up to snuff, to start writing again. Maybe for some of you, I know in this course, especially many of you are more mature students, and it's been a really long time since you've had to write anything for anybody. I get it. I understand it can be very daunting. I myself was a mature student when I went back to do my master's, and it had been over 25 years since having to write something formally. So I understand the trepidation that some of you are facing. And I really appreciate your forthrightness and frankness in answering some of those more in-depth journal entries, right? Where I've asked you if you've had anxiety, asked you if you've had any problems or issues related to writing, related to college. And I really appreciate your honesty. So hopefully you feel a little bit more confident now, having exposed yourselves to various forms of writing. We've done narrative, we've done the rhetorical analysis, and you have done some research and argumentation. All fabulous things. You have also taken part in peer review. You have done metacognitive assignments where you have focused on thinking about your writing and writing about your writing and what your experiences have been, both with the writer's memo and with some of the journals and discussion board entries. So today, I just want to go over briefly the things that are expected of you this week, since we're wrapping up the research argument unit. I don't want you to wait until after you receive your peer feedback to submit your revision if you risk your assignment being overdue. Some people might be dragging their heels in reviewing your paper. So please don't wait for that feedback. You will have gotten feedback from me at the very least. So go ahead and work on those revisions and get the work in on time. It's super important that you get your work in on time at this point. I know I've been pretty flexible with due dates. So if you have anything that is past due, now is the time to try to work on that stuff and get it submitted. Even if it's not a complete thing, at least a partial grade will boost your overall grade that much. Anything at this point is better than taking a 0 on an assignment. Of course, as with all of the assignments, if you receive a non-passing grade, non-passing in this class is a 69% or below, you of course are welcome to resubmit with additional revisions so that you can receive a higher grade. If you are working towards implementing the feedback that I provide for you on your rough drafts and even on some of your final drafts, if I feel like you could still revise a little bit more, I suggest that you take that feedback into consideration so you can improve your chances of passing the course. The weekly objectives. So, of course, implement that revision, the revision suggestions and the feedback that you receive from both me and your peers. Proofread and edit your document carefully prior to submission. I cannot stress this enough. If I have pointed out errors with spelling or grammar or punctuation, and I usually do some form of copy editing on your rough drafts, it's up to you to proofread, make those changes, and edit your document so that it shows me that you care, that you're reading my feedback, you're looking at the document, and you are making every attempt possible to improve your writing. We will also develop strategies for reviewing, collaborating, revising, and editing. That's what we do in peer review as well as revision. Experience the social aspects of the writing process, utilize those proper MLA conventions for formatting academic essays, and then reflect upon the writing process for the third essay assignment. Your readings this week, we are dealing with quotation marks. Now that we have been working with how to implement quotes, incorporate information that we have borrowed from other people using quotation marks, is very important to know how to use them correctly. So there are two readings from Grammarly, one called quotation marks, and then the other one is when to use quotation marks in titles. Remember, for your works cited page, most of you are dealing with online articles, so it's important to know when to use quotation marks in those titles, how to use them properly. If necessary, I've also provided some revision materials that you saw earlier in the term. There's the module Readability from the University of Mississippi Rhet Lab, as well as the revision strategies page that I had up in Canvas. Again, that has a short video under 15 minutes on the differences between editing, proofreading, and revision strategies, as well as some of the strategies written out below. And then there is also the editing checklist, things to go through with this checklist. Let me open this up, actually. Hopefully it won't take too long to load. So looking at things such as formatting, your title, your introduction, looking at your thesis, organization and paragraphs, your conclusion, thinking about sentence structure, if you have issues with wordiness or repetition, how you can go about changing that, your verb usage, and then the nitty gritty of punctuation, spelling, and mechanics, grammar, and that kind of stuff. MLA citation, making sure your works cited is on a separate page. And of course, reminding you to proofread your work. So the edit checklist is a handy document to have. I recommend that you save that to your computers so that you have something to refer to when you have a writing assignment, either in a different class or with me. We're not in week 11. Sorry. Okay. I also have one recommended reading if you enjoy reading. There is a fantastic article, and I will open it up here. This is by one of my favorite writing scholars, the late Donald Murray, Making Meaning Clear, The Logic of Revision. It's a kind of a long reading, but I feel that Dr. Murray his information is very accessible for the novice writer. Because he really does write with students in mind. So he's not, hoity-toity academic, really difficult to understand as a writer because he was primarily a composition professor, not like a literature guy teaching English comp, but a real writing instructor. So I do like this piece. It's not required reading. So, of course, if you don't have time or you don't have the mental bandwidth, I don't want you to feel like you have to read it. It is recommended. It's interesting. It has some good information. So I have just put it out there if you're curious about what really experienced instructors say about revision, the logic of it. So not much to watch this week. There is a video I think it's also embedded in one of these Grammarly pages, but it's also from Grammarly. I have it linked here separately on quotation marks, the 6 main use cases to know. So if you feel like you don't want to read through this stuff, this might help you to prepare you for the grammar quiz. Again, the grammar quiz is really short. It's just 5 questions. And of course, you have multiple opportunities to get the questions right. So don't skip the grammar quiz. It's an easy, 20 points, 5 points? I can't remember. It's an easy extra points to help boost your grade a little bit. For the assignments, as I said, grammar quiz number 12. Then you have journal number 10, which is the writer's memo. This is something that you've seen before, but now I'm asking you to think on not the problem solution essay. I'm going to edit that live. But your research argument essay. There we go. So you're reflecting on the process of writing the research essay. It asks the same questions, but I really want you to think about your writing and write about your writing and get into this habit of reflecting upon your writing. Once again, it's a list of questions. You can go in a question and answer format if you want to, but you don't have to. You can compose a letter to an intended reader, most likely me, or approach your memo as a movie review, or even give yourself a grade and justify why you deserve such a grade with some examples from your writing it. So you don't have to do the answer, the question and answer format. That's probably the easiest for students, but if you feel like being a little bit more creative in your approach, I welcome that. It makes the reading that much easier and enjoyable. The last one, oops, don't want to do that. Save, sorry about that. And then the last assignment, of course, forgive me for not going back to week 12 automatically, is of course your research essay final draft. Again, remember that you should have 4 to 6 pages. That's roughly about 1,000 to 1,500 words. Use MLA format, 12-point font, double spacing, 1-inch margins, you know the drill. Please also make sure that you have at least 4 sources. 2 of them ideally will be scholarly, and make sure that you include a separate works cited page at the end of the essay. This is not included in the overall page count. Again, why we do it this way, I have no idea. It's just how we do it. I have some links here to help you remember about formatting, what a sample paper looks like, as well as the works cited page and a sample works cited page. You have 100 points, and we do have the final rubric here at the bottom. So we're looking at format, making sure that you have 4 to 6 pages, that you have 4 sources. You have the general MLA format with the heading, the title, page numbers, double space, so on and so forth. Your overall organization is coherent with an introduction, body paragraphs, and a conclusion. And then we'll be looking and evaluating on the introduction, that it's engaging, it doesn't announce and that kind of thing, and as well as your thesis statement, that it clearly presents the essay's focus, contains a topic, a stance, and a direction for the essay. We will look also at paragraphs, hopefully that you have one idea per paragraph and that those paragraphs are fully developed, including using quotes or paraphrases. Remember, I don't want you to borrow huge chunks of text from your sources, but instead I want you to synthesize that information and combine it with your own ideas so that you're using the source more as a support rather than the bulk of your essay, right? I'm more interested in what you have to say and how you can use a source to support your stance. Your sentences should be clear, concise, and direct. Use correct tone or appropriate tone and language for the assignment. We will also look lastly at, or not lastly, but also at documentation and integration of sources, making sure that you have proper MLA in-text citation, that you include a complete works cited at the end, and also look at grammar and mechanics, showing evidence of proofreading, editing, and revising. If you need help, especially with the MLA citations and the works cited page, if you need help with those things, please reach out to me. I'm happy to provide a tutorial for you. I do have previously recorded information, but I'm happy to walk you through the steps if you need help. Okay. Lastly, I also want to point you to the Learning Commons. I know we're gearing up for the end of the semester, and they might be overloaded with requests for student help. But I do want you to know that there are tutors available. You can meet with them virtually. They are a fantastic resource. Dr. Don Peteroy, my colleague and friend, is fantastic working with students. He is really wonderful getting students the help that they need. So please don't overlook the availability of Learning Commons. I do have information on our course page, but if you're having difficulty finding that information, please send me an email and I'll get you hooked up with Don or one of his staff members at Learning Commons. So good luck with your revisions. I look forward to reading your refined drafts. I've enjoyed the reading so far with your rough drafts, and looking through all of the different peer reviews. It's been, you guys have been a really great group this summer. So keep up the hard work. We are almost done. I'm not going to go into talking about week 13 yet, but look for a week 13 video pretty soon. Okay. Take care, everybody. Have a great week.